guys, Coach Julia here. This is a daily hip mobility warm-up that you can do to help you get ready for some of your strength training sessions if you're squatting, if you're deadlifting. You can also do this on your rest days so you can maintain really good, healthy hip function. I'm going to need a box with me today. I also want something like a small foam roller, a ball, or I have a yoga block in this case, and then I want a fairly light mini band. So I'm going to start off on the box with some 90-90 breathing. This is where my yoga block is first going to come to play. I'm going to lay down flat on my back, heels are digging into the box, and I'm going to squeeze that block between my knees. So now I get some adductor engagement. From there, I'm going to dig my heels into the box, engaging hamstrings, and then I'm going to lift and tip my pelvis just barely off the ground. I don't want a whole big bridge. Keep it mostly on the ground. Glutes should stay nice and relaxed. We're going to do this with your arms overhead. And then from here, as you inhale, you want to feel that whole back pressing into the ground. Exhale. The next thing I'm going to do is something called a quad rock, which is just rocking in a quadruped position. So you can start this with your knees completely under your hips in parallel. That's a great place to start. When I'm in that quad position, I want to spread my hands, really think about rotating from my shoulder blade to pack that lat down. Toes are tucked under, and then from here I'm going to inhale as I sit back towards my heels. Exhale, come forward. Inhale. Exhale. I actually really like to do this with a little bit of internal rotation in my hips. That's just the part and the range of motion of my hips that I need the most work on. So this is a great way to slowly start to warm that movement up with just some subtle range of motion and some breathing. I'm going to start in the same position, and all I want to do is take my feet out a little bit wider. You'll notice I scooch that foot out to the side. And I do the same thing. Sit back, return. The next thing I'm going to do is set up in a 90-90, and I'm going to do some work here. 90-90, if you're new to it, is exactly as it sounds, a 90-degree angle on my front leg, a 90-degree angle on my back leg. So I want to check that my knee's in line with my hip, my ankle is in line with my knee. Now, this is not set in stone. If you feel more of a stretch with a slightly narrower hip angle or a slightly wider knee angle, that's okay. Feel free to play around with this. The first thing we're going to do here is twist over your back leg. I can use my hand to hold on to that thigh, use my other hand to push into the ground to help me sit up tall and hold. Here, I'm going to start to do some rotations. I'm going to pick this back knee up. Again, arms are either in front of you, helping you generate a lot of tension in your upper body, or on the floor. Take this back knee, I'm going to pick it up off the ground. I want to get as much external rotation as I can. You notice this leg hasn't even moved yet. That's the goal. Once I can't get any further, I'm going to dig my heels into the ground and pivot over to the other side. Then I reverse. Take that back knee, find as much external rotation as I can. Can't go any further, okay? I'll allow it to pull me over to the other side. As I finish a set, that I spend some time in that internal rotation of the opposite hip. The next thing that we're going to do is work on stretching our hip flexor a little bit while adding some glute engagement. This is super duper important. So we're going to set up in something called a Spider-Man stretch. I'm in a nice wide lunge, and I'm going to take my hands down on the inside of my front leg. From here, we're going to think about tucking the hip under, so lengthening the tailbone down towards the ground. You're going to push into your back toe and try to lift your knee off the ground. Now, if that suddenly hiked your hip really high, keep that knee a little bit softer. And then from this position, you're just going to give me some glute squeezes. Literally, squeeze your butt cheek. Hold, squeeze. You should feel an intensified stretch in that hip flexor. Let it go. All right, we're going to expand on that glute contraction to facilitate hip flexor stretching with our yoga block or foam roller, whatever you have. This is going to be a single leg glute bridge variation with some holds at the top. Okay, so here I'm going to start laying down flat on the ground. I'm going to take that yoga block, squeeze it between my knees. Now I have adductor engagement. From there, I'm going to tuck my hips under, drop my rib cage down. I should already engage a little bit through my glutes. Then I'm going to push up towards the sky. Right now, my hips and my knees should both be parallel. Arms stay to the side beside me, and I'm just going to straighten one leg. If it's helpful, keep your hands on your hips. If you notice that one drop, we got to come back up and square it off. Then from here, you're going to go down, drive, and really focus on squeezing that glute. The distance between your ribs and your hips should remain consistent. After a few reps, you're just going to hold at the top. Okay, so let's bust out that mini band. This next one is all about hip flexor strengthening, right? We did a lot of lengthening by contracting our glutes. Now we're going to try to get that bad boy a little stronger. We're going to place this mini band, and it should be pretty light, around your feet, and we'll meet up in a plank position. Okay, so same plank setup as before. Spreading my fingertips, packing my shoulder blades down, tucking my toes under, lengthen, hold that plank nice and tight. Then from here, you're going to pull one knee in, hold for 2 to 3 seconds, back, reset. 1, 2, 3, back, reset. The last movement in this Happy Healthy Hips series is going to be a side lying leg raise. We're going to lay down completely on your side. When you are here, I'm super picky about these positions. I want obliques engaged. So you're not pushing your hip into the ground. We're going to think about maintaining that rib cage nice and tight, and obliques off the floor as much as you can. Same thing in this top hip. We don't want to contract that QL and get your hip hiking. So we're going to try to maintain the distance between your hip and your rib cage. If it's helpful, literally just put your hand right there and make sure that that doesn't cinch and contract. So length, length, length through that top side. Then from here, you're going to dorsiflex your feet. That means point them up towards the sky, and you're going to give me a little leg raise with that top leg. Again, we're not looking to feel this in your side, so if your whole body is moving, we have to minimize that range of motion. Keep this tight, and we're just working glute med here. Thanks for checking it out. Let me know how it goes. If you have comments about other stuff that you want to work on, leave it in the comments. And as always, subscribe.